Hello and welcome back to another Warcraft lore video. This time we're going to be talking about Maraudon, or Maraudon, or however the hell you're going to say it. This is a pretty cool little instance that actually has, well, I suppose a little bit more lore to it than some other places. In this video I'm going to go through first of all the lore of Theradras and Zaetar, then the Centaur, and then finally a little bit about the instance itself. So let's start from the beginning with Theradras. Theradras is the daughter of Therazane, and you may recognize Therazane because she is the elemental lord of stone. You'll find her in that lovely place called Deepholm, very shiny. Well, it really, looks don't run in this family, we'll just say that, because they are elementals, and because of this elemental nature, they are related to the old gods. Back before the Titans came and ordered the world, it was in constant chaos and strife because of the elemental war between Therazane, Neptulon, Alakir, Ragnaros, and whoever the hell I might be missing. Then, next we have Zaetar, and he is the oldest son of the demigod Cenarius. The two of these guys seem to meet, and, well, they met and then they sort of got it on, and they were involved for quite a time, during which they had a few children. Now, these children... well, they pretty much just went and butchered their father, literally, from what I can gather, nearly right out of the womb, or whatever the hell Earth Elemental daughters have. But yeah, basically nearly as soon as they were born, they butchered their father, and he was dead. Theradras was absolutely terrified that because of this, Cenarius would just come and enact revenge. He is a demigod, he is damn powerful, and while she was a very strong elemental, she didn't really think that she could stand against his wrath. And, well, Cenarius wouldn't come, but what she did do was take Zaetar's body and flee into Maraudon. The Centaur then basically spread out through Desolace. They have a few different camps there at the minute, and one group, the Maraudon, have claimed Maraudon as their stronghold. And inside Maraudon itself, there are a mix of the spirits of long-dead Centaur cans and then the elemental forces of Theradras. There are also some Satyr chilling out there too. They basically are there because their leader, I think his name's Lord Viletongue, was adventuring in there and basically struck up a deal with Theradras. Anyway, so Zaetar Spirit resides inside Maraudon, and he is the guy who tasks players with killing Therazane so that he can return to Desolace and try to restore it to life. I'm assuming that because he is like the eldest son of Cenarius, that perhaps death isn't final and maybe his spirit can float around the place or do something of that nature. Next, it is Centaur time. So there are five main clans of the Centaur in World of Warcraft, and then of course there are one or two from Warcraft 3 and then the RPG. But for the sake of keeping this video a little bit more concise, I will only be covering the World of Warcraft ones. First we have the Kolkar tribe, and they inhabit the Barrens, parts of Desolace, and parts of Druitar. Then we have the Maraudon, as I said earlier, who are inside Maraudon. Then the Magram and Gelkis tribes, who are the main guys in Desolace, and at least back in Vanilla, they were subject to a few quests. Then finally we have the Galak, and they combat the Tauren in Thousand Needles and Mulgore. And then finally there are some outcast Centaur in Desolace as well. I actually remember there was... I'm not sure exactly what it was, but there were some cool quests in Desolace back in Vanilla where you're trying to get some alliance struck up between the Centaur tribes, or something like that, but it was kind of cool. Anyway, each tribe is led by a Khan, and there's a lot of shamanism going on, but it's a very dark form of shamanism. It's very brutal, and it's very much unlike what the Horde and Alliance would practice. The shamanism is usually practiced by the women. They seem to be more proficient with magic than the men. I think once again they end up following one of those tropes of the men being the strong, bulky ones, and then the women being the talented spellcasters. But yeah, whatever. It's an RPG. It's a fantasy game. That's usually what happens. In terms of some other tribal things, they are quite partial to a good bit of old cannibalism, and they are happy enough to eat other sorts of meat like Tauren and other humanoids. So really, they're very brutal and they're not very nice. And now let's talk about Maraudon itself. So, in terms of bosses, first up we have Noxian, and Theradras had Viletongue, who I will get to in a minute, but he's the Satyr guy, create Noxion. And Noxian isn't too special, but he's really just there to serve as a protector of the place. Then we have Razer Ash, and he was essentially made by Viletongue again, under the orders of Theradras, to be basically Noxian's best friend. The two of them seem to patrol the place like a group, and Theradras apparently treats him a bit like a pet. Then we have Grizlock. He is a goblin, and like all goblins, he was really just there for the money, at least originally. And there's lots of crystals inside Maraudon, and in fact, back when people really treated it as 3 different wings of an instance, they were denoted by the colors of their crystals. But anyway, he wanted to go in here and take all these crystals, get some cash. But unfortunately, he went mad, and now he thinks he rules the place. And it seems like everyone else in there seems to be okay just to leave him to his own devices, because he is a useful form of defense, I suppose. And then we have Lord Viletongue. He's a satyr, and he joined, he was journeying into Maraudon, and eventually Theradras, while she did have some early concerns about teaming up with a more demonic sort of guy, she eventually thought, yeah, all the imps and grelkins, or whatever they're called, that he can bring are probably going to be useful, so they teamed up. Then we have Syllabus the Cursed. This is one of Zaetar's nephews, and he attempted to free his uncle from his current predicament, but he was instead overcame and corrupted. Once we kill him, we actually get some, well, it's not cool dialogue, it's more some text boxes, but he talks a little bit about what's going on, which is kind of cool. I'll show those up on the screen. Then we have Landslide, who is really just there to be a boss. He's a massive elemental and was summoned by Theradras, I would assume from Deepholm, which is the elemental plane of Earth. Then we have Rotgrip. He's a giant big-ass croc. And apparently Helmut Nezingwary said that he could not be found, meaning that I am clearly a better hunter than him. And then finally we have Theradras herself, who I covered earlier. Lore-wise, Theradras is dead, and she was actually one of the elemental commanders that was involved in the elemental invasion, which was the world event that led up to Cataclysm. Anyway, that's it for this video. Maraudon's an interesting enough little place, actually. So, yeah, hope you got some more context, and maybe next time you drop by there, you'll know what the hell's going on. Anyway, thank you very much for listening and all that stuff, and I'll see you next time.